So this is going to be a little bit of a different video where I'm just going to open up one of the ad accounts that we're managing and just show you behind the scenes of what we're currently doing inside to scale the ad account. You can see this one right now, over the last 3 weeks, we've spent $101,000. And then we've got a second ad account for this client as well, where we've just spent 8.4K over the last 3 weeks as well. So if we look at the overall numbers then, over the last 3 weeks, we spent about $108,000 in total and getting people to register for a live event. So our client sells courses and coaching, and we're going to host a big live event. They're going to go through the live event, all the registrants, and then at the end, we're going to pitch and sell the online coaching program for the client. So the goal over the 3 to 4 week registration period is obviously to get as many registrants as possible. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is August 11th, and we've been running ads for about 3 weeks, which you can see, and we've got about another week to go before the event starts. So far we spent $108,000. At the start of the launch, we projected to spend about $160K, but because the ads are going pretty well, we're going to up that. So let's just say we spend $8,500 because that's what we spent yesterday. We'll spend that for the next few days, and then I'll probably bump up the ad spend to about $10K a day, and then maybe we'll leave some of the ads running for the first couple of days of the launch. And overall on registration ads, we're going to spend about $190K. Then we'll probably spend another $5K on reminder ads that basically retarget all of the leads, getting them to show up. And then we'll probably spend another 5-ish K on sales ads. So once we do the sell and we release the offer, we'll retarget all of the leads and we'll send them back to the sales page. But if you guys are interested, maybe I'll do another video on that strategy later on. But for now, I just want to focus on the registration campaign and how we have approached it, because we do have 2 different ad accounts and they are following slightly different strategies, which I'll explain. So you can see right now, we have one campaign down here. I'm not really going to talk about this because this is just a retargeting campaign. So this is like a warm retargeting campaign. Our client do have an audience on social media, so we just retarget the followers and people who've engaged with them on social. So that's why the cost per lead is so cheap. Some of that is to lower cost countries as well. So we don't mind retargeting people from lower cost countries if they're already familiar with the client. So that's why the cost per lead is $2.77. So that's why it's super cheap. But obviously that's not cold traffic. So the top 4 campaigns here are cold traffic. So these are all lead generation campaigns. And right now we have 2 US campaigns and 2 T3 campaigns. So T3 is Canada, UK, and Australia. The reason why we separate it out is because we know like a majority of our audience is going to be from the US, but we still do get customers from the other top countries. So we didn't want to group them together in like a T4 campaign, just because we know that traditionally, like for this offer, Australian leads are actually quite cheap, and we do get if we just put them all in the same campaign, Facebook allocates a lot of the budget to Australia, and our clients are in the US. The coaching program is kind of based out the US, so it's on US time zone, which can cause some friction when we get Australian customers. So I always separate the main, for this client anyway, I always separate the main country out, which is the US, and we'll spend a majority of the budget there. So you can see in this ad account, we spent $101,000 over the last 3 weeks. And that's like 67 grand of that has gone to a US audience only. And you can see we're spending 2.5 grand on these 2 campaigns right now. And we're just spending 500 a day on the T3 campaigns. We started these 2 US campaigns at 500 a day. And over the last 3 weeks, we've scaled up a couple of times to now be spending 2.5K. With these 2, even though they're getting a good cost per lead, we didn't want to scale it because, again, in the past, I would have scaled it. But one of the big tests I'm doing for this client now on this launch is basically to say, I'm just going to put, 80% of the budget into the US, and even if it does get us a slightly higher cost per lead, I think we'll make more money on the back end. So that's like the big test, I suppose, that we're doing inside the ad account now. So we've done that, and then there's another big test that we're doing. So you might be asking, well, why have you got 2 US campaigns and 2 T3 campaigns? So we basically, for this launch, We've got 2 funnels, one targeting one type of customer and another targeting another type of customer. So this is a business related offer. So we have like complete beginners, and then we have people who have already tried the business, but they're struggling with the business. And our client can help both of those people. And traditionally, we've just ran one funnel for all, and we'll have like different ads that target the different avatars, but we've always had one funnel. Where this time, another big test that we're doing is just run, separate them out completely, 2 landing pages, 2 different opt-in pages. We have 2 different email sequences. And we're going to see, obviously, we tag the people who come through the different funnels. And we're going to be able to see at the end of this launch as well, what percentage of the buyers come from the beginner audience and what percentage of the buyers come from, the slightly more experienced person, which is another big test that we're doing. So we've got 2 campaigns for each because they've got 2 different links in them. And they've obviously got different ads because they're speaking to different pain points and different customers. But it's all promoting the same event, which is like a live event where at the end we will do the pitch and the sell. So that's how it's going so far. So T3, the T3 campaign is obviously getting a cheaper cost per lead, $3.69, $3.52, which is pretty damn good for like a business related lead generation campaign, which is like obviously one of the most competitive niches in online marketing. And then we have this campaign is going to a US, and again, slightly higher cost per lead, but still getting, $4, $5, $6 leads for a US audience is for like a business coaching offer, which is pretty damn good. So that's how we separate it out. In terms of the actual campaigns itself, so once you go in, you'll see we basically created a batch of different ads. So each ad set is focusing on a particular type of ad / like avatar, like / pain points, personas, whichever way people want to call them these days. But it's a mixture of like static added images. It's a mixture of like personal brand images of our clients, a mix of like short reels of our client with like a text overlay, or we got our client to film like a bunch of like selfie, like face to camera videos where they're like speaking directly to the audience promoting the event. So in total, we've done in this particular campaign, we've got 11 different ad sets, so 11 different ad types. And right now we've just got 3 that are running. And we basically launch probably in the beginning, like 4 or 5. We let them run. And then we analyze the results, and then obviously the ones that aren't working. So, for example, we had some that was high cost per lead, $8.45, $7.55, $6.69, and we obviously just turned those off, and we basically kept the best performers running, and that's pretty much the same throughout all of them. This one again, we've turned a bunch off that was getting a high cost per lead, and we've kept the ones running that are getting a low cost per lead. You can see this one's working pretty well, $3.65. This one as well, $5.39. It's gone a little bit higher. This one, I've not gone in the ad account and turned anything off today, but I launched this one a couple of days ago. You can see his cost per lead of $34. So very likely straight after this video, I'm going to turn it off. And then within these campaigns, with little less management because they've been honestly working pretty well, just turned off a few ones that weren't working well and kept basically the best performers. If I was looking at this right now, I could probably go in and turn, this ad off because it's $5.37, and these seem to be like cruising pretty well. So I'd rather this spend go towards these. So, and then the other campaign would be very, very similar. Now, if you've looked at some of those numbers, you would have noticed this one, for example, that I was just in, this one down here was getting leads for like $2.78, and it's got over 1,600 leads, spent $4,500, and I turned it off. And the same with this one, which is like the US campaign. We had one down here, which was getting leads of $4.05, and it had, 2,700 leads, and it spent $11,000, and I've turned it off. So you might be thinking, like, why the fuck would you do that? And I realized that, and you can see that since I turned these off, which was around the 30th first, so last month, you can see that our cost per lead has increased significantly. So if I come back to the overall campaign and I go to last month, you can see that these US campaigns, and all of them really, was a lot lower, but the US ones in particular was like under $4, which was like an incredible cost per lead. And you can see this month, when I turned those ads off, the cost per lead has gone up significantly, which on the surface of it feels like a pretty stupid decision. But this is something I talk about a lot, and I don't think it is spoken about enough. And it basically is that the understanding that not all clicks and not all leads are equal. So what some people fall into the trap of when running ads is that they'll just look at the ad metrics, and that's the only thing that they make decisions off, which isn't always bad, but it's not always good. So let me explain, because that doesn't really make sense. So the ads that we're getting, like a really cheap cost per lead across all the campaigns, it was an ad which was basically like a 15-second reel style ad, and it had some like B-roll of our client in the background, like coaching and teaching. And then we had like a headline and like a text overlay, and it got people to register for the event. Now, those reels aren't necessarily that bad. They obviously perform pretty well. But you got to understand, if we've got two ads, one is like a 15-second B-roll reel that has just some text overlay. And then you have another ad of our client, which is like them speaking to the camera for like 2 minutes. And they're both generating leads. The people who watch a 2-minute video of our client and then go and register for the event, that lead is going to be much higher quality than the lead that just watched like a 50-second reel where you don't really, even know who the client is. You've not seen their face. It's just them B-roll in the background, and you just go and register for this random event. So my theory is that the people coming through the other ads, that even though they're getting a higher cost per lead, they're going to be a more qualified person. Now, was it a hard decision? I did obviously want to keep the ads running for that real ad, because the leads were so cheap, and we had a couple of them that were doing really well. I think in this campaign, maybe there was only one, but across all the different campaigns and the different like types of avatars, they were getting like a super cheap cost per lead. So this one, and this one, and this one, these three, even though they're getting a good cost per lead, I turned them off. Now, another reason why I turned it off was because again, you don't just want to look at metrics, you don't just want to look at the actual ad, you want to look at like different markers. And the other reason I turned those ads off as well was like some of the comments that we were getting on some of the ads, I could tell like they're a little weird. Now, if you run ads, especially for like a business offer or a make money offer or any offer really, you're always going to get some fucking random comments. You're going to get some weirdos in the comments that like comment something weird, and you're just like, who the fuck is this guy, right? Like weird ass comments. And we've been working with this client for a good few years now, so like we know. I've got a good understanding of like the audience, who comments and what's normal and what's not, even though if they're a little weird, I can kind of get a gauge of like, yeah, but that is the right type of person. The language that we were using in these ads, I could just tell Facebook was showing it to a slightly different audience than what we're used to. And because of that, I felt like the quality was low. Just like some of the comments were like super weird, and they were talking about like different topics that didn't really align with what we were teaching about, but like there was big discussions going on in the comments about those different topics. And it was just a little weird. And even though the metrics were fucking good, and like when I'm reporting to the client and I'm like, hey, we just got 2,000 leads for $3.65 to like a US audience, cold audience, that sounds great, but I'm just worried on the back end that the conversions weren't going to be there. So again, not all clicks are created equal. Not all leads are created equal. Some people will teach you like, you just want to try and get like the cheapest cost per click, or the cheapest cost per click, or the cheapest cost per lead. And I see people like creating like these really clickbaity ads that get loads of cheap clicks, but they don't make any money and they don't get conversions on the back end. Now, obviously we haven't ran the event yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I'm hopeful that we're going to make our client a shit ton of money, but I don't know yet. But my theory is that I just had a hunch that I'm like, even though the metrics are good, I just don't trust it. Just something didn't feel right. And, so therefore I decided to turn all of those ads off within the different campaigns. So you can see The only ads right now that we've got running in here, this is an image of our client and then just like some long copy text. This is videos of our client speaking directly to the camera. Let's just go back to all the numbers. And then this one is, our client like speaking on stage, but he spent like $3. So I might as well just turn this one off. It doesn't really matter. So these two are the ones that we're running with right now. And obviously the videos one is getting the cheapest cost per lead. So I need to make a decision on this ad images here, the image ad campaign, whether I turn this off and let all the budget go towards this one. But if I do that and I've only got like this ad set running, then I'll probably need to create some more variations of that video to make sure that it all doesn't go into one ad set. So just this launch, even though everything's going pretty well, it's been a good learning lesson around like the types of ads that you create and what is like a quality ad versus like an ad that's going to get really cheap clicks and really cheap leads, but is it actually going to make you any money in the back end? So that's what we're doing right now. We don't really have much more to scale. Like I said, we're spending $8,500 a day right now on this account. I'm probably not going to increase this ad account anymore. If I was to do it, maybe I would increase these two, the T3 campaigns. But I've already bumped this up a couple of times, spending $2,500 a day. Overall in this ad account right now, we're spending about $6,500. And as you can see, last month, the cost per lead average was below $4 for the US campaigns. And this month it's a lot higher. And again, that comes down to me turning those certain ads off, but it also just comes down to, going from spending, nothing, before the launch on, what day is it? Before the launch on the 21st of July, we weren't spending anything. So I've gone from like spending $0 in the ad account to spending, $6-7 a day on this ad account in the space of a couple of weeks. So the cost per lead is always going to get a little bit higher. So another thing that we've decided to do for this launch as well is open up a second ad account. So this one's a little bit smaller. We only launched it, I think, at the very start of this month on the 1st of August. And the results have been pretty good. So we only launched 2 US testing campaigns, so at $500 a day. So again, the beating right now, the average from the other account, if you look at just metrics from this month, which is good. We didn't launch any of the ads that were getting super cheap cost per leads. All of the ads inside of this ad set right now is just my client speaking directly to the camera for like 2+ minutes. So again, getting what is a hopefully a quality lead because they've watched a 2-minute video of our client already. And you can see this one's working pretty well. Spent $2,500 pretty much. So we've got like a clear winner inside of this campaign, and it's getting leads for $4.20, which is awesome. And then this one, again, not as good, but going pretty good. Again, this one is getting most of the budget, 2.3K, cost per lead of like $5.26. So, I wish Facebook would maybe try and spend a little bit more money on this one, but it's only spent $200. It's getting a lead of $3.34. But typically that means that Facebook doesn't believe that this can scale. Something interesting though is that all of these, so except from this top one, which is actually scaling, and in this campaign, all of these ones, except for this one, which is scaling, all of these ads had already been used in the other ad account. The only new ads that we've launched in this ad account that aren't currently being used in the other ad account are the ads that are scaling. So, a few times now we'll launch like different ad accounts for clients just to try and keep like the CPA as low as possible. But even if you do that, but you launch like the exact same ads, maybe, you have different copy and stuff, but if you're using the exact same videos across multiple different accounts, then they looks like going to compete with each other. Whereas the ones are actually scaling and Facebook are actually willing to put budget behind and also getting a good cost per lead, they are brand new ads. So if you are using 2 separate ad accounts, I recommend, making sure that you are launching different ads within those accounts as well. Then other than that, we've got a scaling campaign. This launched this morning. So This would have launched US midnight, so it's probably only like an hour, a couple of hours old. So yeah, $9.66 right now. I'm hoping that it doesn't continue that way. We've just got, it's a CBO campaign, but we basically got the 3 best performing ads that from the other campaigns. We basically, took the ID and put them into a scaling campaign. So obviously, we're going to spend about $1,000 a day right now on this campaign. It's only spent $100. So it's way too early to tell, but I imagine that this cost per lead is going to come way down. Now, the plan would be if this scales pretty well, and if this cost per lead can come down to about $5 on this scaling campaign, then I'll probably, what I would actually love to do is scale this harder, because this ad account seems a bit more stable and the cost per lead is on average lower for this month. I'd rather put more budget in between this one. And what I'd even like to do is probably bring this down to like $2K a day, bring this down to $2K a day, and allocate more budget to the other account as well, because that seems to be getting a cheaper cost per lead. So, yeah, that would be the game plan. Like I said, we're spending about $8,500 a day right now. So I've just launched that $1,000 a day scaling campaign in the second ad account. So today, really, all things being equal, we're actually going to spend about $9,500, because that's like an extra $1,000 in ad spend. So even if I do this every day right now until the end of the launch, that leaves us pretty much on target. So looking at that, I could probably reduce the budget on those in the first ad account and put those scaling campaigns back to $2K a day, and that would free up an extra $1K that I could allocate to the new ad account or the second ad account, and hopefully get cheaper leads that way. So yeah, that's a bit of behind the scenes how I'm like looking and strategizing for this. I will release the results I always do for these launches, typically to the email list, but I might also make another video as well if people want to see it. But if you got any questions about this, the strategy, how I'm running the ads, obviously I have to keep some stuff confidential. I can't just go in and like show you the exact ads that we're running and stuff, because I want to, obviously for client privacy and confidentiality, I don't want to reveal the actual ads or anything like that. But if you got any questions about how we create the ads or how we structure it, the campaign structure, or anything you see in this video, let me know in the comments below.